Hey, first off the bat, I apologize for the sound of the running fan, the ambient noise. It's that time of the year where it's pretty much on all the time. So I wanted to make a video focusing primarily on my favorite comic strips. During that period of time when I was not really buying superhero comic books, I was still enjoying my dad's script to, I believe we either had the Orange County Register or the Orange County Times. They leave it on our porch, and that was kind of my thing. I would always check out the daily funnies, and of course the Sunday full color strips. I mean, obviously, there's the god tier comic strips, Charles Schultz's The Peanuts, Gary Larson's The Far Side, and Bill Watterson's Calvin and Hobbes. But there was a couple of strips from the 90s, specifically, that I was really into. I always look forward to checking out. One of them I don't have any representation for was Borgman's Zits, about a kid named Jeremy. That's still running. Funny thing about that Jeremy character is he actually appears within a frame of Frank Miller's Sin City Hell and Back. So that's pretty crazy. But I've just kind of been collecting these treasuries. I finally started watching the cartoon for this after 20 years. But I was a big fan of Aaron McGruders' Boondocks. This was one of my go-to strips. I loved the style it was drawn in. I love the influence, and these books are super cheap. I mean, sometimes you'll buy them from a used bookstore and they'll arrive in pretty rough shape, but for the most part, I thought they'd be a little harder to track down. Not for any kind of obscurity reason, but I thought this would appeal to broad audiences of comic strips, hip hop culture, anime culture, manga fans. And I just thought there'd be a lot of different people going after these, but they're super cheap. A lot of these are in color. I probably was reading this strip every day for about 3 years. I'd say from 99 to like '02. I guess that's 4 years, but maybe these were being collected during that time when we still had like a Barnes and Noble in our mall. God, I think that was on the bottom floor, not far from the theater. I can't remember, but this strip looks really great in full color. There's a couple more of these I have on the way. I think towards the end of the comic strip it became more politically fueled. This one right here is just the dailies, so these are all in black and white. McGruder would use Zipatone for characters' complexions and establish different hues. Funnily enough, that's Huey, that's Riley, and this is Jasmine Dubois. That's Grandpa Robert Freeman. That's some girl. And yeah, I just enjoy it. I like to look at comic strips because it just kind of reminds me purely of just looking at comics for comics' sake. This other one, I scored. I found an auction, and it was a little bit nerve-wracking because I didn't cover my bid. I think I went like $2 over, but the auction ended, and to my dismay, I got this beautiful lot. One of my all-time favorite comic strips of Mutts. I really enjoyed this strip a lot. Patrick McDonnell would get really abstract on the daily strips, but primarily on the Sunday strips, he would create a banner that he would embody so many different styles of art. You could tell that it just gave free license to explore classic paintings, to riff on old movie posters, classic art. I mean, these are just really cool. And that wasn't even the body of the comic strip. That would just be the banner panel, I guess you'd say. I adored this strip so much. Earl and the little lispy cat. I haven't read this in years, but I think his name is Muchi. When I was little, I kind of discovered these comic strip books. This old lady that lived next to us in Buena Park, she caught me shooing one of her cats off of our yard with a piece of bark off of some timber that we were drawing in the summer to chop for a fireplace in the winter. But I had like this shell of some bark, and I sort of chucked it at the cat, not trying to hit it, but just enough where the bark would kind of burst and shatter into pieces and scuttle along the cat, who was about to do its business. And the lady saw me and she was really upset. But like, I think we were leaving to go to Kmart or something. I was getting into the family car with one of my parents, and she came over and she gave me one of these like oblong shaped comic strip books, which I guess makes sense because the dailies would be like 3 or 4 panels. But it was one of Garfield, and I read that, and from that point on, I always thought those daily Funnies books were really cool. The ones that are done in one panel, like Ziggy and Family Circus and Far Side, those are pretty crazy because those ones, they have to know how to tell a whole story in just one box. So here is more of that Mutts slot I bought. This is another of the Sunday and afternoon strips. And man, these were such a joy. I really wanted to shoot this somehow where we were just looking at the books, because I know I look sleepy. Today's actually my brother's birthday, so that was cool. But I know I look worn out, but the good news is these Mutts books aren't worn out. And like I said, when you buy these for cheap off of like used bookstores, these have been passed through the hands of people who see comics as being pretty disposable. I kind of wish I'd created a scrapbook of my favorite comic strips, at least the Sunday Funnies, and sort of had a little clippings book of all of these. So fortunately, Mutts is still running. Boondocks ran from like 96 to 2006, and then the cartoon ran, I think, 4 seasons, around 15 shows per season. Oh, that's a cool panel. So just all these different philosophies and religions and levels of consciousness are explored in these comics. Even, the comics we know and love get shout outs. So yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I might have to wear like for the black and white ones, so I had to break out my glasses. Actually, let me see. I look slightly less tired doing that, so. Here's a good look at some black and white stuff. A lot of these newspaper cartoonists are pretty ill with the inks. I know. I know Bill Watterson. He was doing kind of like some days he would do this film noir style of the comic strip for Calvin and Hobbes, where Calvin's like a little detective, and it looked really good. Like, even though it was just Calvin's bedroom, and he's wearing like a little trench coat and stuff, fedora cap, the way it was lit, like these guys went to school to do this stuff. I mean, a lot of very good artists are self-taught, but it's almost like newspaper cartoonists are slightly of a different school, just because of the legacy of comic strips, I guess. It's a nice minimalist cover. So I got these all in like new condition, and just the pages are really nice, and that's probably a mock autograph, but there's a possibility maybe one of these is signed. So. Yeah, it's funny, there's a couple of strips I can't even really remember the names to. I don't know if they have treasuries for them, but bird character's cute. I guess you can't have them all. These are the main ones though. Mutts and boondocks. There's a couple, I think 3 other boondocks ones that I have on the way. A couple of them from actual like collectors. So fingers crossed they're in a little bit better shape than the bargain bookstores. It's kind of like buying a Blu-ray that has been repurposed to be resold to us. That was in one of those vending machines at the grocery store where people rent the movies. Like, that's as public as you get. So man, yeah, it's just nice to have these. It's a really soft, nice matted paper that repels fingerprints, probably repels acid too, because it almost feels like the same material as those full backer boards. A couple more of these. No doubles. I have this one. I had this one back in the day, 1987. Pretty cool. And this one too. I think these were like the first 2 to come out. They're like a yin and yang. Pretty dope crab character. This next little thing, I still feel like this is comic strips, even though this is manga. I believe it's been shifted from being left to right format. But Davis Comic Finds knows that I treasure this character, and I just want to get a couple more of them. Davis has sent me a few. I don't even know if I got any of the ones that I don't already have as a result of Davis sending them to me. But this is gone. This is This is some of the nicest pen quill work I've ever seen. Masashi Tanaka. This guy is as amazing with detail as any artist I've ever seen. There's only one of these, to my knowledge, that was ever colorized, and it's a full comic book size, that colorized version. But yeah, Gon's basically this dinosaur, this medieval creature that just visits different walks of wilderness, and he seems to be indestructible. He seems to be as strong as, just imagine, a 1.5 foot tall Godzilla. He's fast, he's powerful, and a lot of the comedy comes from the fact that the animals are drawn with very human-like facial expressions and reactions. It might be indicative of a certain genre of manga, I don't know. I just got a taste of this a long time ago. My comic shop owner, Hanky, from Hanky's Comics in Buena Park, he just told me, he said, just buy this, just read this. It was only $6, but he'd never steered me wrong. He got me going on Bone. Like when Bone was on issue 5 or 6, he was saying, no, just get this. So that's book 1. Complete. This is Gone again. I'll just flip through this one a little bit. So yeah, there'll just be like confrontations going on in the wilderness, and Gon will insert himself, and you know, he's not a nihilist. He protects the innocent. He just sees injustices in the wild are forces of nature, and he intervenes. Galapagos Island turtles. Just a great strip. It's one of those things where, you know, you can just talk till you're blue in the face about how nice the work is, but you'll never fully explain it, because the beauty comes from the piece of just taking like 10 quiet minutes and just looking at the work, all done in pantomime, not a single word balloon. And it's all about just the escape of seeing this cause and effect of this little creature. And it's great. I mean, drama, dynamic lighting, I guess good and evil. Sometimes it doesn't really even come down to that in the jungles and forests and tundras and prairies. A lot of time it'll just be, who's the top dog, you know? And sometimes, even though Gon is clearly the top dog, he doesn't exploit it. If he has some extra salmon bellies and he sees, you know, a cub starving to death, he'll break off some. It's a nice shark story. I believe this character was in a fighting video game a couple decades ago as kind of a character you can unlock. It's pretty cool. Holland in the forest. Let me just flip through some of these. Some of these are gifts. I did a Lone Star. I got I'm still behind on Dragon, but I think I got one that I'm missing. I'm pretty sure it's up to 270, 271. Yeah, so I'm trying to keep up on that. I can't find Taro Witch the Black Rose. Lone Star won't carry that. I think Lone Star is trying to become more family friendly. They don't have Taro Witch the Black Rose. I noticed they don't have a couple of things. So they did have this 3D version of the Max. I'd always wanted a copy of this. It comes with 3D glasses, and it's pretty sick. There's also a glow-in-the-dark cover for the Max. It looks exactly like old 3D technology, which I believe was always fine. There's the glasses, but here's a good page to show you. It's just slightly blurred. I have some other 3D glasses from Valiant Vision I could probably use. So this is, I guess you'd call this a reprint of the Max, or a first print of the Max 3D. Here's a tricked out 3D version of the cover, which on camera it doesn't seem, camera almost seems to reduce the blur. And there's a little backup story. It looks like just the Max and Sarah playing ping pong or something. So really happy about that. Anytime I can get some Sam Keith I didn't have. Here's another Moon Knight series, Vengeance of Moon Knight. It's colored by Sinclair, who I guess is coloring all of Frank Miller's stuff now. I thought that was a really good Frank. I'm never going to turn on Frank, but there's been a couple of covers where even I thought, man, I can't buy this. The newest Wolverine cover, I looked at it and, ugh. I mean, I get it. I get that he can do no wrong, but something about it just made me think I don't want to buy that. Something's just wrong about it. But here's something so right. Here's Carl, the cat that makes peanut butter sandwiches. My homeboy, Big Elbow, got himself a copy of this for his birthday many years ago, 2 or 3. And June being my birthday month, I wanted a copy just to kind of commemorate. Because Lee said something in that video that is very true. He says, I think he paid like 10 for this. I paid more, to be honest with you. But he said, I bought it for myself because getting older sucks. And he's right. Part of the reason I haven't been shooting or editing or uploading is a lot of my time has just been going to appointments and going to bed early to get up to see a doctor, just so I can keep going, because there's just a lot of wear and tear with work and aging. I'm not saying anything new. I mean, get that in your back and forth. But I'm experiencing it firsthand. I'm trying to maintain. Okay, I'll show these real quick. I wanted to I could have segued into more Frank Miller, but I got these American Elf. These are journals that this artist I met at Comic-Con in 2004, James Kochalka, was kind of blowing up a little bit. He does all of his work with kind of a squiggly, like sable paintbrush line. and he was blowing up at the time because I think he'd gotten a page published in a Hulk book, and also his book, The Horrible Truth About Comics, caught some attention. It was a very good book, but these are like journals he does, and I was able to find a couple of them. Again, that oblong size that is tricky on shelves, but I dig it. Sometimes if you want the indie stuff, you gotta kind of get the books that are shaped like the slipcases for 45 records. So there was another book that was really, really good. Scott Thompson's, not Scott Thompson from Kids in the Hall, but Scott Thompson, the creator of a book. Actually, two books I read at the time. One was Blankets, and the other one was called Goodbye Something Rice. And I really like the style, and I caught the artist on the last day, and he'd probably already kind of gotten all the praise. He really, he probably heard enough of how brilliant his stuff was. So by the end of the fourth day, because Comic-Con will go Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'm there Sunday afternoon, and I'm asking for like a remark and saying, asking him about his inspirations. And he's probably just worn out, but I was like 24 at the time, so I was a little huffy and puffy about it later on when I thought about it. But in hindsight, it doesn't matter. He signed my book. I can't have really high expectations meeting people from other states, artists no less. I mean, because one of the prime functions of an artist is to create something so magnificent that it makes people love you. And once they accomplish that and are a success, the love means less at a certain point. Because like when an artist is starting up, it means so much. But as they blow up and get pretty big, it's diluted. But I didn't have anything like that wisdom then. I just thought he was an asshole, and I never bought his work again. Maybe 20 years later, after he's cooled off, and maybe he would appreciate the admiration. I might cut all that out. That was a little telling, but it's the truth. Here's Frank Miller. Anytime I see Frank Miller during this kind of Sin City era, when he's doing his Sin City thing, I gotta get it. I'm still looking for a copy of Danger Duck. And there's just a couple of things. Frank Miller did a cover for Maxim magazine. I really like this time. This is Dark Horse Presents X19. I think I like 300. I really like the comic a lot, but I thought the movie was trash. I remember I was so excited. I walked to Target, I bought a copy and brought it home, and I just couldn't believe how horrible it was. I mean, it was so corny, and I love Sin City. I even love The Spirit, which a lot of people think is garbage, but I swear I have trouble even looking at 300. And I since really liked the Zack Snyder. I really thought the Watchmen movie was pretty good. I liked his zombie movie. I need to see Sucker Punch. Anyway, here's another X, a not Frank Miller cover. But something about that 300 picture. But I do really like the comic. I think that might have been like Frank Miller's Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. I think he geeked with that one. Here's another X. Frank Miller X. I think like the only artist I've read that even touches how high Alan Moore can take you with his top work is Frank Miller. Like, that's why it wasn't just because Watchmen and The Dark Knight Returns basically dropped on the same year. It had more to do with that here are two really high caliber works, and I think the only thing that really makes me sometimes lean a little bit closer to Frank Miller is his illustration skills. But when it comes down to it, Moore, his Swamp Thing run is so perfect. I think Moore's Swamp Thing and Frank Miller's Daredevil, I don't know if those works will ever really truly be touched. Here's a John Kay Ren and Stimpy book, so that was cool. And here is a TMNT Adventures issue 72. Davis Comic Finds. Bless his heart, he scored me a 71, which is part 1 of the early years. This is part 2. So with those two and what I already have, I probably need 30 or 35 more issues. Let's see what we got here. Just another James Kochalka. And I'll go ahead and show this. I got 2 of these. I got one for Under the Cowl of MS. He found, I think, Bayou Billy issue 4 for $1 a week or so ago. And I was just telling him that's a really nice find. I mean, it's definitely worth more than $1. But what's really nice about the find is just that he found it, you know. Bayou Billy is based on a kind of a popular 1980s Nintendo game. Sort of a Crocodile Dundee, but in the swamplands of America. So, been working really hard on making sketch covers. I haven't gotten real far. I'm working on kind of 3 at the same time. I got one for Higgy Pop, actually 2 for Higgy Pop, because I was making him one and then he won the contest. And so I'm working on 2 for Higgy, one for Dr. Silver Age, and one for Davis, who Davis is always patient with me. But I got so excited, you know, I got really thrilled and pumped up to do the art that I started just bidding on these blanks, these sketch covers. And here are some of the ones I've gotten. New Mutants. This is a blank cover for New Mutants 98. Here's I haven't quite figured out how to do these, but it's a Symbiote Spider-Man Alien Reality one. I don't know if you have to use chalk or paint to make it show up. I'll figure it out though. Be a little challenge. This one will be nice. The Scarlet Witch. Have fun with that one. Here's a Guardians of the Galaxy. It has that overlay paper, so you can kind of see the banner, but I guess once you complete the piece, you shred away the overlay. It looks like it's made out of like zigzag paper anyway. Really soft tissue. Daredevil Legacy 662. Excuse me. That's the Legacy. But issue 1 sketch. I think I got 2 of those. Miles Morales, Spider-Man. I don't know anything about Miles Morales. I just know from my brother that he's really cool on the video game. And he's a good kid. He's a good kid with good values. It's another one of the Daredevil. Draw a really sick Kingpin. Here's an ASM 300. So some of these are pretty good blanks. A lot of the blanks that we're seeing were for things I'd never heard of. So it occurred to me, when you get this cover, you kind of want to draw something that has to do with the meat of the pages, the content of the book. You don't want to get some off the wall image, just one and done kind of book, and draw Mr. Sinister on it. It doesn't make sense. But here's a Thor. So yeah, you kind of want something fitting with the theme. But here's another one, that's Symbiote Alien Reality. It kind of occurred to me that you could just buy any old cover, another Thor. Probably make Throg. Anyway, here's a Mortal Thor. Better get going on some Thor ideas. Another ASM 300. So that's a good one. I mean, obviously Venom's fun to draw. I guess I kept winning these Alien Reality ones. This would be a nice one. Let's see what we got here. See, you get this really soft tissue. You could definitely roll it up and smoke it if you feel so inclined. But it's a Mary Jane, ironically enough. And I always like it when the inside of the cover is white. Now, why does that matter? Well, if you have a light table, like you'd see in any tattoo parlor, a light box table, which will actually shoot the light into the cover. If you want to trace it, it's nice when there isn't an ad on the inside of the front cover. I don't do that. I appreciate it. So speaking of Mary Jane, I was minding my own business, just, kind of loitering a little bit at Target. Turtles are so expensive. I saw Robotic, Bebop, and Rocksteady. I saw just a Leonardo from the cartoon, and they're so expensive, $35, $50. But I walked away from the category of toys that are for the adult collectors. Guys like me that remember Biker Mice from Mars and will be thrilled to see a new toy of that and might have $38 to spend. I didn't that night. But I got a nice little bargain on this Spider-Man No Way Home. Can't remember if I saw that one or not. But yeah, it was a cute little Zendaya Coleman. Rocky from Shake It Up. And I thought crack her open and put her on the shelf next to America Chavez. So that was a nice little find. Anyway, the final thing I want to show is a couple of cards No, not pocket aces. Something better than that. These are, and believe it or not, I do like Star Wars. I just feel a little alienated that 9 out of 10 people say my favorite Star Wars movie totally blows. And Phantom Menace does not suck. It's a very good movie. But that's enough to alienate me. I will not watch anything Star Wars that is not George Lucas. I talked about this with Ross Sears. He says, why would someone want to miss out on something? I just took a stance a long time ago. Anything Star Wars that George Lucas did not do is a fan fiction. But I make exceptions. The comic books, the Dark Horse comics, are very good. And these are the Star Wars Galaxy cards. And a couple of them have Sam Keith on them. And this beautiful card, we have a Twi'leks, we have Jabba, we have his party favors. Unfortunately, no Bib Fortuna. That would have really sealed it. Where's the light? And just because I didn't mention him on this card doesn't mean Salacious Crumb, who I believe was only mentioned in the credits. I don't know how people in 1983 knew this was Salacious Crumb, but we know it now. I think I've known since '97 when these were reissued. But the back of it says, he had a big nose, offers Sam Keith. Why did I take my glasses off? As an explanation for why he chose Jabba's cackling hench creature, Salacious Crumb, to illustrate. For some reason, I've always drawn people whose noses are too big. After wowing the comics world with DC's Sandman in 1988, Keith went on to illustrate Epicurus the Sage, and eventually wound up drawing Wolverine covers and stories from Marvel Comics. His own creation of Max was recently published by Image Comics. That is dated 1993. So I thought those were really cool. Sorry, I will never alienate someone for liking Disney Star Wars. In fact, I've always been willing to watch at least one of them. I forget which one has Forrest Whitaker in it. I think it's the Rebel Squadron or something. I would watch that because it kind of just looks like a really cool kind of Top Gun movie. But yeah, some cool Star Wars cards for the PC. Thanks for watching. Sorry, I will get back into the editing soon. I really enjoy that. It's such an extension of video making that I love it. But my eyes have been a little zapped lately, and especially working at night. I'm seeing optometry pretty soon, but yeah, my eyes have been playing tricks on me, night driving. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoy comic strips, because it's such a fun medium, so attainable, and I just get a kick out of them. Who doesn't like to look at some art and laugh at the same time? Can't beat it. Thanks for watching. Yeah, oh, and happy birthday to my brother. Love you, dude.